This is Introduction to Computers and Programming using C++. So a programming language is a special language used to write computer programs. So a program is a set of instructions a computer follows in order to perform a task. Now, suppose we want to find or calculate a salary of an employee. First, we are going to start with an algorithm. So algorithm is a step-by-step task that we are going to follow in order to solve a problem in sequential order. So here we say we start with an algorithm, which is a set of well-defined steps. Now, first thing we need to do is to display a message on the screen asking how many hours did the employee work. We wait for the user to enter the number of hours work. Then we are going to ask the user again, how much is hourly paid or pay rate? And the user will enter the amount. Then we are going to multiply the number of hours by the amount paid per hour, and we store the result in the memory. Then we are going to display the message on the screen that tells the amount of money earned. So this will be an algorithm, and everything is in English. Now, the goal here is to convert the algorithm to, again, a program. Because, again, computer doesn't understand English, rather understand a machine language. So here we see, although the previous algorithm defined the steps for calculating the gross pay, it is not ready to be executed on a computer because computer only executes machine languages. And the machine language instructions are normally the binary number 0 and 1s. So a computer CPU can only process instructions that are written in machine language. So if you were to look at the machine language program, you will see a stream of binary numbers. So that's example here, 10110. So rather than writing program in machine language, programmers use programming language such as Java, C++, etc. Also, we have different types of language. We have the low level used for communication with computer hardware directly. So this would be the binary or machine language. Then we have the high level, which is closer to human beings, for example, Java, C++. We can see that C++ in our previous lectures example is close to English. So we have to use a special software that again will convert it to machine language. And we shall go through that. So this example of a well-known programming language such as C++, Java, Fortran. Fortran has been around for a long time in the 60s. COBOL, C#, Python, etc. So from high-level program to executable file. So what we mean here is that C++ is a high-level language, but a computer doesn't understand, or the CPU doesn't understand the high-level language. So we have to convert it to executable file, which should be the machine language. So these are the steps. First, we create a file containing the program with a text editor. So example of a text editor can be a notepad if we are using Windows. Then we are going to run the preprocessor to convert the source file directives to a source code program statement. Then we run the compiler to convert source program into machine instructions. Then also we run the linker to connect the hardware specific code to machine instructions, producing an executable file. Now, if we are using the compiler or IDE, Integrated Development Environment, these steps almost goes together, like 2 steps. So here we say step B to D are often performed by a single command or button click, especially if we are using IDE. Errors detected at any step will prevent execution of the following steps. And we shall talk about different types of errors. So for example, we have the syntax error, which will be the grammatical error. So for example, we know in C++, we have to end the statement here with semicolon. Now, if we forget the semicolon or we use a period, then we are going to get a syntax error, which is a grammatical error. In this case, we cannot execute this program. So with a syntax error or grammatical error, it's very easy to identify because the IDE will identify it for us. We cannot execute. But we also have different types of errors such as a runtime error or logic errors. So we will discuss that in the future. So these are the steps again. First, we create our source code using the C++ language with a text editor. We are going to create our preprocessor, modify the source code. If possible, we compile it. The compiler will generate object code for us and then link the library files. Then we get executable code. So here we talk about the integrated development environment. And that's the software we are going to use. In this class, we are going to use the Microsoft Visual C++. But again, we have so many IDEs for C++ programming language, such as Stable C++. We also have Code, Warrior, etc. So many. So an integrated development environment or IDE will combine all the tools needed to write, compile, and debug a program into a single software application. So now if I use the Microsoft Visual C++, it has the text editor, I can create the source code, it has the compiler, I can run it, compile the program, run, so we do everything in the application, in the Visual C++. So this is an example of a Visual C++. Here we create our source file. This is the program that calculates the user space. So we include our library file. IO stream is the input and output stream. It allows us to use the cout and cin. In C++, cout allows us to print a statement or a value on a screen, like monitor. Cin will allow us to input a data from our keyboard. So here, in every C++ program or most programming language may have a main function. So this program is a very small program. We only have the main function. Main function is where the execution takes place. So as we said, this program calculates employee salary. So we include the IO stream because we want to use the cout and cin. Then we also specify that we are using the standard library file. So using namespace std. Then our main function. Again, we shall go through this in chapter 2 of our course textbook. So first, we should know what is a variable. A variable is a memory location. So we declare variable here, name, hours, rate, and pay. The good news, the operating system will randomly allocate a memory space for these three variables. We are going to store the number of hours the employee work in the variable name hours. We are going to store the employee's salary rate, hourly rate in a variable name rate. Then when we find the pay, we are going to store the answer in a variable name pay. So the first thing, also get the number of hours work with a double / here. This is a comment. The compiler will ignore this comment. We have different types of comments. This is a single line comment. We also have a multiple line comment, etc. So here we have our instruction here, cout. How many hours did you work? And this will, when we run this program, it will wait for the user to enter the number of hours using his keyboard. So I may enter in the number of hours, and that value will be stored in the hours variable. Then we also get the hourly pay rate. So we'll see an instruction, how much do you get, and do you get paid for hourly? Then employee will enter the rate. Then here we use the multiplication to calculate. So in C++, again, multiplication is asterisk. We shall go through all this again in chapter 2. So here we find the hourly, the pay, which is hours times rate. Then we display the results, the pay. So cout, you have N, we have the $sign, then the content of the variable pay will be displayed. Again, this is just to give you an idea. We will go through this in step-by-step in detail, again, in chapter 2. Now, if we want to run it, again, we have the build menu. We also have the run button, the green, and we shall go through this in our next lectures. So what is a program made of? We saw some keywords. So, for example, we saw let's go back. Using namespace is a special words for C++. Double, return, they are all special words. So these are called the keywords. We also saw the program-defined identifiers. Identifiers can be like a variable name, the function name. As in our program, we only have a variable name. So our identifiers here are hours, rate, and pay. Then we also have operators like arithmetic operators, multiplication, division, etc., punctuations, and syntax. Syntax will be the grammatical rules. So for example, when we say in, we have to end. We have to have a variable, and also we have to end it to semicolon. When we write a function, we have to open a curly brace and also close it. So these are all the rules, the syntax, and we shall go through this in our future lectures. So here again, we say the keywords, also known as reserved words, have a special meaning in C++. Example here again, the namespace, int, double, and return. So in our program, these are the keywords, as we said, using namespace, int, double, and return. Also, the programmer-defined identifiers. In our program, we only have the hours, rate, and pay. So this is names made up by the programmer, not part of the C++ program language. Also used to represent various things. It can be in our case, it's variables, which is memory location, our example here. But also it can be a class name, it can be a function, etc. We shall go through this in the future lectures. Operators, we have arithmetic operators, assignment. So our program also consists of operators, insertion, extraction, and also punctuation, semicolon, comma. Also, we use period, and this is in object-oriented programming. We will discuss that also in the future. So syntax, as we said, is the rules of grammar that must be followed when writing a program. One simple rule, anytime we write an expression or a statement, we must end it with a semicolon. That is a rule. If we end it with a period or we don't end it, we get syntax error. Also, a variable, as we said earlier, is the memory location. So here we say a variable is a name storage location in the computer memory for holding a piece of data. So in our program 1-1, we use 3 variables, the hours variable, rate, and also pay. And this is, and always when we want to use variable in C++ language, we must declare it first. So the declaration will be the variable, data type, and the name. So for example, hours, we can store double. Double means it can be decimal, it's a decimal value. We also have int, which means it has to be a whole number. We also have a string, which means it has to be in double quotation, and it can be 1 character, symbol, digits, or nothing, but it has to be in double quotation. And we shall discuss all this in our future lectures. So variable definition, we said there are many different types of data which you will learn about in this course. A variable holds a specific type of data. So example, double pay, it means it can only hold a decimal value, $20.20. A variable definition specifies the type of data a variable can hold and also the variable name, as we said. So one more time, double is hours, rate, and pay. We shall see this again in chapter 2. So that will be the conclusion of these lectures. So our next lecture will take us to chapter 2. Thank you.